Welcome to Faith in 5, a weekly video devotional designed to discuss practical spiritual concepts in 5 minutes or less. I'm your host, Mark Vandella. I've recently become very aware of my desire for control. I've done so because I have the opportunity every once in a while to train on delegation. So the leadership skill of being able to equip someone to accomplish a task that you no longer do or have to do. And in doing so, we ask a lot of questions about make a list of the things that you do and what are the things that you need to do and what are the things that somebody else could do. And when I do that for myself, it's really hard to find things that I don't want to do. And I realize I'm a little bit more of a control freak than I'd like to admit. And if we really all step back, I think we would see that we all like control and we like certainty. We don't like questions. And if we have questions, we want to find the answer. We want to solve them. Unfortunately, our faith is not that simple. We are in the second week of our More Than You Can Handle series, where we are really poking holes in some of the things that we've thought and believed about our faith, the things that we continue to perpetuate that just don't add up in the end. And one of those things is that when we have questions, we should expect direct answers. We believe if there's a cause, there should be, or if we do something, there should be an equal effect, right? Cause and effect. And we believe that that's how life works. Now, there are some things that it's very clear that that's how life works. But it's not how our faith always works. It's not how our life circumstances always work. I had somebody the other day tell me it's really not that complicated. It's simple. It hasn't been for me. It isn't for my friends. And when I'm being honest with the people that I love and care about and I see their lives, it's not simple. We have questions. We have things that we do not understand, and we don't always have answers or get answers. And so the first thing we do, I talked about last week, is when we have stuff that doesn't go our way, we ask why. Why is it this way? God, why aren't you doing something about this? What could I have done differently? Or what could I do in the future? And there are some things that's true. But it's not true for all of our circumstances. And when we get to these spots where we have questions, and we start mapping the idea that God will never give you more than you can handle. He will never give you questions that you cannot answer. Onto our faith, it's frustrating, it's painful, and it's hard. What if we changed our perspective, as Nate does in his book, to at the moment where our questions are not answered, when we do have more questions than we can handle, that's the point where we lean into God. We invite him in differently than we do in other places. And we don't just cheapen our faith by, God, I want something, give it to me. Sometimes I like to refer to that as gumball theology. If I put in a quarter, I should get what I want. And unfortunately, when we have these moments, we lean on verses. And that sounds weird to say, unfortunately. But what we do is we lean on them in a way that they're easy and simple. It's just so simple. You just read the Bible. I have. And it's not that simple. Because it's applied to life. It's applied to circumstances. One of the verses that we often lean on when we have too many questions is, ask and you shall receive. Right? Jesus says in Matthew 7 through 12, he talks about ask and you shall receive. And we go and we grab that verse and we pull it out of the context and we say, just if you have questions, ask God. He will never give you questions that you can't find the answers to. That's not exactly what Jesus is saying. Jesus says, ask and it will be given to you. Seek and you will find. Knock and the door will be opened. And we want to apply this to our life circumstances. If I'm in pain, I should be able to ask God why, and he will give me the answer. If I seek that answer, it will show up. And if I keep knocking, God will eventually open the door and let me in on something that I don't currently know. But Jesus often, when he teaches, he uses examples, like knocking on a door. He uses parable, real life instances, but then he often jumps bigger, up high. If you seek God, if you ask of God and you knock, the door will be open to your salvation. It's bigger than today I have a question, therefore I put a quarter in and get the gummy or the gumball out. Jesus goes on to say, obviously, if a kid asks a parent for bread, the parent's not going to give him a stone. If the kid asks for a fish, parent's not going to give him a snake. Right? That makes sense. That's cause and effect. That's 1 + 1 = 2. But when I experience pain, when I experience darkness, and I believe that God gives it to me, then our faith gets a little bit shaken up and uncomfortable. And that's not exactly true. Right? As you study this verse a little bit further and you get into this verse, the key is relationship. So instead of where we believe that when God gives us more than we can handle, or when life, I guess I would say, gives us more than we can handle, that's the point where God shows up. So the ask, seek, knock is much more ask God. Not only just, hey, God, it'd be nice. Wrestle with him. Plead with him. Have a relationship with him. Seek. Continue to do the necessary work. Study. Try to work through your circumstance. Bring God along with you. And then knock. Continue to endure. Continue to persevere. Knock, knock, knock. Don't give up because you didn't get answers. It's not a simple 1 + 1 = 2. What it is not an equation to solve. It's a journey to navigate along with God. And so in our faith, when it doesn't measure up to what we've been told and what we would hope the verses would give us, instead of pull away from God because he's not giving you what you need or want, lean in, ask again, seek more, knock more, and just be with God. This week in your faith, look for those places where you have more questions than you can handle and put them in front of God. It doesn't mean that he's going to pop out a gumball, but just invest in that relationship. Sit with God, be with God, and see where he shows up.